So I'm delighted for the fourth episode of the podcast, and we've got Sean Skene on today, who's an amazing actor and stuntman. We'll just go straight into it, Sean. Just how did you start your acting and stunt career?
Well, my stunt career started first. I gotta say, my acting career was just basically on top of that. I got most of my acting jobs through stunt acting, and then kind of branched off from there. But I got really lucky. I was born into a stunt family, so my dad's a stunt coordinator, my brother's a stunt coordinator. My mom is actually an actress and a puppeteer. So she does um, does theater and musicals. She's an amazing singer. So my mom's really the talented one, to be honest. And we're just a bunch of stunt guys in the family. And I kind of grew up doing that. And then, yeah, opportunities presented themselves for acting, and I took some acting classes because I figured I may as well have those skills. But I gotta say, I never really wanted to be an actor growing up. I wanted to play hockey, and I wanted to direct films for sure. I was definitely wanted to make films, but never thought of being an actor.
You obviously said like you've come from a acting sort of background within your family, but you said you didn't necessarily want to do that. What was your sort of family's take on that? Did they always push for you to follow their footsteps, or was it just always whatever you want to do? It's your career.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, really, my mom was the actress in the family, and she was pretty realistic about it. I don't think they were pushing us towards arts. In fact, they're probably doing the opposite because it's tough to make it as an actor. There's a lot more jobs out there that are a lot steadier. So, yeah, I think my mom knew the world of acting, and you really have zero control over your career as an actor. So, uh, being a stunt coordinator and a stunt performer is my real job, and the acting will just come up when it does.
You've been in some amazing films. I mean, Suits, the series. You've done stunt work on that, and one of my favourite franchises, Wrong Turn, which we'll go into in a
Mhm.
little bit of detail later. But they're different genres of films. Is there always been a genre that you've always wanted to go down, or is it just whatever you find works for you?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, whatever. I'm not picky. I'm working. But as far as films that I enjoy, I gotta say, even though I was part of that Wrong Turn franchise, I never liked horror. Horror scares the hell out of me half the time, and I really don't like watching it. So, I'm a big comedy fan. I like the comedies that are based in reality. Like the Forgetting Sarah Marshall kind of knocked up those sort of comedies that are kind of make light of real human pain. Those are some of my favorites. But yeah, genre wise, I work in a lot of action, obviously, because I'm a stunt performer. But really, I love a good story. I love a really well told good story. And unfortunately, those are pretty rare nowadays. As far as the movies that are coming out, because it's all about special effects, and a lot of the horror is. I mean, Wrong Turn. Speaking of Wrong Turn, I mean, I call that a little bit of gore porn, where it's less about the story and more about the shock value of it. And I can't say I've ever thought about making something like that on my own. So.
Yeah. And obviously at the minute there's a global pandemic going on. Sort of
Mhm.
how has that affected you in work? Has it affected you it badly, or is it have you found nothing's particularly changed for yourself?
Well, I'm pretty used to on and off work. Our we were so busy the last like 4 or 5 years here in Canada where I work, and I was pretty happy with the break, to be honest. When the work comes, it comes fast and furious. So I uh, I looked forward to this break, and especially last summer, just spent most of the time at the lake. We have a family cottage, so which is just outside the city. So we didn't have to leave the province or do anything. We just went to the lake and hung out there just with our family for the entire basically the entire summer. So we're again I'm pretty fortunate in that way where I can take work off for that amount of time and not be hurt too much, and just kind of have the perspective of it being a break more than a challenge. So.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And
Mhm.
growing up, sort of, did you have any film stars that you looked up to, maybe an actor or actress? Is there anyone that inspired you?
Um, there's a lot of actors that I respect and the way they work, and like, I mean, Meryl Streep is one of the, whenever I watch her act, I'm like, holy shit, like that's acting. That's
Mhm.
amazing. Like the bravery that she shows in every single film she's in, and that's why I think she's an amazing actress, because she's brave as hell. Because she'll she'll look across the screen and actually love someone or actually hate someone, and not be afraid of those repercussions. She's so brave and vulnerable in everything she does that it's quite amazing. And that's what the great actors are. They're amazingly brave. Um, I don't think I'm anywhere near there at all. I don't even consider myself a great actor. I just I just try to enjoy my roles and do what I can. Um, but really, I looked up to athletes when I grew up. I've like I said, I wanted to be a professional hockey player, so I really looked up to those athletes. It has shifted a bit in my current life, because I've realized how athletes aren't exactly um, the most, I don't know the word. Um, they're not they're not the most developed minds in this world, because they're basically rewarded for being amazing athletically, being a physically gifted athlete. Like, I mean, look at people like Tiger Woods, who, his whole career is designed around blocking out the world, right? Just completely blocking out all the haters and just saying, I'm just going to win, I'm just going to win, I'm just going to win. And you got to imagine how that affects you emotionally. I remember when I went from my hockey career to my acting career, and I had to break through a lot of walls that I had built up as an athlete. Because when you play hockey, you basically put this wall in front of you, and say, no, nothing you say could hurt me. I'm not going to absorb anything you say. So you basically learn to just not listen to the world. And as an actor, and I think a human being, that really hurts you, because you lose the empathy for people around you. And if you're not acting without empathy and bringing the room in, then you're not really acting at all.
For sure, for sure. I just wanted to ask you, sort of, when you watch films or you watch certain actors, there may be a film or a series that the acting isn't particularly great. Is that something you pick up on? I mean, what I mean is, sort of, in horror films, is the cliche when you're getting chased, you
Mm-hmm.
trip over and you're like, you knew that was going to happen, or the phone rings when they're in a closet. Is that sort of things you pick up on when you maybe watch films?
Yes, absolutely. That's more pertaining towards the writing rather than the acting, because um, and I think everyone's job in a film is to ground it in reality. The directors, the writers, the actors, they're trying to bring it back down to reality and make it believable. But there's certain films that you feel really sorry for the actors. You watch the actors and you go, how the hell are you supposed to deliver that line? How are you supposed to deliver, oh my God, they're here when you've left all the doors open, and you've been making love on the couch for 6 hours.
Yeah,
It's like, yes, and people were chasing you. It's like the writing sometimes sets up the actor to just come off like a bad actor, because it's I don't think there is bad acting. I think there's bad choices, right? Because the acting you make it's all about the choice within the story. So if a choice doesn't make any sense throughout the character or through the story, then it's sometimes considered bad acting.
yeah,
When in reality, it's just a horrible choice. And I think, like I said, actors like Meryl Streep and the amazing actors, they make the hard choice and they make the unexpected choice,
mhm,
and it just comes off so much more real. And they fight for that. I've been on set with actors who, they're super professional, and they'll get the notes from the director and they'll say, no, I think you need to say that more angry. You should be angrier. And they nod and go, okay, yep, yep, yep. And then they just do it how they want to do it, because they know there's no such thing as showing anger, being angry. It's about making the choice about what you're doing, and it's inside you rather than emoting out of you. So, um, yeah, I don't know where that
yeah.
question ended, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Who would you say the biggest actor you've been on set with, whether that's fan base wise or just a name that you immediately think what you know who they are?
I've been fortunate to be on set with a lot of actors through my stunt career, but it's like Paul Walker. I worked in a movie with Paul Walker here about 2 years before he passed, maybe a year before he passed. Unfortunately, as a stunt double, I rarely get close to these actors. Like I'll work with them pretty closely and have some conversations with them, but I never pretend to be good friends with them. I really respect the professional space and do my job and then go home and let them do their thing. So yeah, I've worked with Dwayne Johnson on a movie where I had to get hip checked over his back in a hockey movie, Tooth Fairy. Yeah, I've worked with a bunch of actors, honestly. Sean Penn directed a movie here last year that I was stunt coordinating. I had to work closely with him. And working with an actor who's directing is a completely different thing. Or having a relationship with a director and an actor is a whole new ball game. But yeah, I mean, tons of them. But I gotta honestly say I don't get starstruck. I think a lot. I really see actors on set as just people doing their job. The only time I was really starstruck was when I worked on a MMA movie, and we had all these MMA fighters coming in, like Forrest Griffin, Rashad Evans, these Chet Congo was there, and it was like just to see these professional athletes and talk to them was pretty surreal for me. That was as close as I got to being, I think, starstruck. But I understand that marketing of celebrity in general is all about being, bigger than the reality and playing these roles that are always the heroes. So people really look up to them because of those stories. But in the end, those are just the stories that were written and directed really well and acted really well, and has nothing to do with who that human being is. So I really come in level grounded and treat them like professionals and judge them from that point on, right? Because if you come in with a preconceived notion of who someone is, they're going to become that in your mind, and that's not fair to them. So
yeah, 100%. I just want to ask you in terms of your stunts and things. What is it about that you just particularly enjoy?
The job. I enjoy having a job that makes me money. That's always nice. But a lot of it, I mean, I grew up in an athletic background, and my parents were in the arts, and my dad was a stunt coordinator, and it just made sense all around. It really was the perfect merging of my skill set to become a stunt performer. And I really love the teamwork aspect of it, honestly. Like, it's when I'm on set as a stunt coordinator is about half my job now. And stunt coordinating is basically the stunt director. You go to set and you go to the first meeting, break the script down, discuss what stunts are there and what they want to bring you in for, hire the doubles, decide who needs stunt doubling, what we can get away without it, etc. You have those negotiations and set yourself up for that. But I really, those days of stunt coordinating when there's like no other performers on set isn't the most fun, because you're really just trying to make sure everyone's safe and you're just kind of the safety guy. But when you're working as a stunt performer or a stunt coordinator with other stunt performers, and you have that team aspect, and you can really create a really cool illusion and a really cool story with your team, and you have that control. For me, those are the most fun days, where you have your team out and you have some control over the creative. Otherwise, you're really just being told what the creative is, and you're just making it safe. So.
Yeah. I want to ask, if you could write and direct your perfect film, genre, whatever, maybe chuck in a couple of actors who you'd want in, what would that film be about?
That's a really good question. A fantasy film. I'm a really huge fan of the Harry Potter series. I've read it a few times, and I have it on audiobooks, and I like listen to it when I drive, and I just think the storytelling in that is so good. My dream job would be to turn that into I think they might be doing in a couple of years. I think they talked about it, but into like maybe a HBO series of Harry Potter, because I'd love to really explore the dark elements of that series and make it really really truthful. The movies themselves are done so amazingly, but they're also done with their audience in mind and making sure that they're appropriate for the ages. Basically, the way I see them is they're kind of appropriate for the age that the main characters are throughout it. The first one's pretty child friendly and kind of goofy, and sorry, I'm just,
There you are.
and they kind of go on and become very a little bit darker as they go. But I think it'd be really fun to do that. And I don't know who the actors would be. I'd probably pick brand new actors, obviously, since it starts at kids.
Yeah.
But I would throw the actors that I mean, actors in that series are pretty amazing too. Like Gary Oldman is an amazing actor. Uh, who do I like? Who do I really like as an actor that I want to? I don't even know. I'm so like, part of me doesn't want to, because I've been disappointed by a few actors that I've met on set and gone, that guy's not the nicest team player. So part of me is a little afraid to wish to meet someone that I think I respect. Again, I don't know them, so, and that would be a big element for me if when I start directing, is I would love to meet the actor and know who they are first, because I don't care how amazing an actor you are. If you have a really insane method of acting that puts the crew down and isolates you in a bubble and makes every day a living hell just to get what you think is an amazing scene, for me is a very selfish way of acting, and not really. I don't think that's really art if you're sacrificing other people's emotions,
Yeah.
emotional well-being for a final product. So I guess that's a long answer to that.
Now I don't want to downplay the films and series you've been in, but the fan base of this podcast is quite horror based, so I feel I just want to move to the wrong turn sort of things now. I just want to ask, what was that like on set for you? What was it like?
That project in particular was my favorite project to work on. It was the most fun to be on set. It was such a great experience, because we had shot half the movie just out of town. So the whole crew and all the actors had our own, basically we had booked this giant motel, the whole crew, and the pool stayed open 24/7. So we'd get home at 3 a.m. and go hang out in the hot tub and with the crew and drink beers. And it was quite the experience, honestly, for that one. And then on set, I would do, so I played Three Finger and Vincent in it. Vincent was a role that I got offered like 2 days before it started, because they had it was kind of screwed up, because they had an actor who couldn't end up doing it, had to back out of his contract like last second. And I had done a table read beforehand. And because he wasn't there, they were like, hey, who wants to read this? And my brother and I flipped a coin to see who was going to read that role just in the table read before it started. And I won the coin flip, so I read it. And then 2 days later, the director called me and said, hey, do you want to play this role as well? This actor's no longer in it, so do you want to play it? And I was like, and it had a sex scene too. I was like, well, it's got a sex scene, but I also don't care, because I played hockey all my life and have been naked in a dressing room, and I don't really give a shit about being naked. So so I was like, yeah, sure, that sounds great. I'll do both those roles if it's going to work. And it turned out that it worked, but I was like, my skin paid for it, because every morning I would go into the makeup trailer. Doug Morrow, who is an amazing is an amazing special effects artist, made these prosthetic pieces, a 5-piece face to apply to me. And then the other artists were Don Greenberg and Steven Kostansky, and they're both amazing makeup dudes as well. And I think Steve Kostansky is directing quite a bit now. He does some horror as well. But sorry, I got a little sidetracked there. But, so every morning I would go into the trailer with the other two mutants. There are two hillbillies, and we would get our makeup put on. I would have a 5-piece prosthetic. So I had my chin, my 2 cheeks, my nose, and my forehead. They'd paste this on me, glue it on me. That took about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And they would spray the color on me. and then they'd paste my mullet onto me. The hair lady would put my mullet on me, and because that was what it was. It was a sick mullet that Three Finger had. And then I would go to set, do the morning of work. Then I would right after lunch, I'd come back in the trailer, and they'd peel it off me, pull it off me, try to be as gentle with my skin as possible. And then they would put makeup on me, my like just normal human makeup, to make my skin look like it wasn't being wrecked throughout the show, because it was a little bit tough to go from Three Finger to a normal human being to Three Finger, to just keep going back and forth throughout the show.
Yeah. How long did that film take to record and get all finished?
The production took, I mean, pre-production was probably like 3 weeks for that. Production, I believe, was just over a month, maybe. It was pretty fast. It might have only been a month. And then, yeah, it's probably only a month. And then I think it came out like probably less than a year later, because we went to maybe a year later we went to the premiere in LA for it, just for the experience. And that was super fun, actually, to go check out the premiere in front of a giant audience of people yelling at the screen, which was my favorite part.
You obviously mentioned you don't particularly like watching horror films, you get scared, but I don't know if you've seen the whole of the Wrong Turn franchise, but if so, what is your favorite one apart from the one you was in?
The first one, for sure.
Yeah.
I have seen the first one, and I think that was done really well. Yeah, I was a big fan of the first one. Yeah, that's all I'll say about it. I think I've browsed the other ones. I don't even think I've watched the full series, to be honest. I went through them before Wrong Turn for a shot. I was like, okay, I should probably watch all these just to get it. And I ripped through the other ones pretty fast.
Yeah.
And I got it. I understood it. They're hillbillies.
You obviously
they're gonna fuck you up.
For sure. Your brother was obviously on set as well in that film. How was that like to work with him in a professional environment? As much as he is your brother, you remain professional. How was that?
Yeah, I love working with my brother and my dad. We have a really good working relationship, and I think when it comes to stunt work, you need that trust between each other to do that. So my brother is a stunt performer and stunt coordinator that is working a ton now. He just finished coordinating the new Resident Evil movie.
Wow.
And yeah, I love working with him. It's easy. It's easy and it's fun, and it's just like, yeah, we stopped fighting as brothers when we were 13 years old. As soon as we got moved out of our bunk beds, which was, I think 13 was late to still be in bunk beds, but we got separated at that point and got our own rooms, and then stopped fighting each other. So after that, it's been golden. And I think work has really helped us, my brother and my dad, to maintain that professional relationship, because it's really easy to have little disputes amongst your family when you're home and private, but once you're out in the world, it really brings to light how petty little disputes are, when there's so much more riding on and how much you need your family. Like I need my dad. My dad helps me so much in my career that I don't know where I would be if he wasn't helping me, if he wasn't a phone call away at all times.
For sure. In the film, what was your, I say favorite, but what was your favorite kill in that film?
In Wrong Turn 4?
Yeah.
What was my favorite kill? There was the throat. There was that one. I think my favorite one to shoot for sure was when we were chopping up Dean. What was Dean's name in that? Man, I forget his name. So when we had it was called we had him up on the table and we were chopping him up and pulling his organs out, right? And then I was chopping onions on the table. That was the most fun, because it was just playing house, as like we kind of went into that mode of well, this is a scary moment for this guy logging the table, but for us three hillbillies, this is the first time that we have to enjoy our household. We're having dinner, so it was really fun just to be chopping onions and kind of laughing. And then my brother was chokes on the finger, and I give him the Heimlich maneuver, yeah, that was a fun moment because we had that when there's a moment in Wrong Turn 4 where he's eating, and I think he eats the finger, and he starts choking on it. And I give him the Heimlich, and the director said, I'll give you $50 if you can spit it into the lens, I think it was. And he goes, whoa, and he spit it, and it landed short of the lens and went right into the boiling potato pot, and it went bloop and made a really nice sound. And then we were staring at it and waited 3 seconds. Then I gave the 3-finger laugh, which was like I just gave one of those after it was done. And yeah, it was that was a really fun scene because it was the one, because every other scene was just chasing and being scary, and that was the one scene where we would just be like, well, we're just alone having dinner as a family now, so let's just do that. And it was really pleasant to be that.
There's just something about the cannibals and hillbillies that are just so scary. Like, I mean, I can happily watch The Exorcist 3 o'clock in the morning, Halloween, go downstairs in the dark, but it's just, they're so human-like in a weird way, and it's just, I don't know, but that's what I think scares most people, because you've got a, they can fire a bow and arrow perfectly to the head, or they know what they're doing, and it's like, it's just so crazy, and it's just so perfectly crafted, and that just must be amazing, and you must feel that as well, because you see some of these horror films with, you look, Michael Myers is an unbelievable, he's a horror icon, but the amount of times where he should have died, I mean, he's been burnt in the last film, but
Yeah.
in that he should have been killed off, but I'm sure there'll be many more of them films. But like I say, it just must be amazing that not just for me, but you have an effect on thousands, millions of other people that are scared of you guys.
Yeah, it's I think you're right when you talk about those characters, because it is, I mean, they're relatable, right? It's like it's basically saying, what would an elite human being be like if they didn't have any empathy at all for anyone else? And that's terrifying, because in the end, you're saying it's kind of like all of us. It's relatable. It's like all of us if we were the very worst of us out there, and that is terrifying. I personally, I've never really thought of it as me having that effect on people, because I think having that effect on millions of fans, because I really think that it's the writers, the directors, the prosthetic makeup, like that's just me. That's like 15% of me underneath all that. Just playing with something that's been given to me by all these great artists. So I honestly don't look at it as oh, I affected all these millions of fans. They look up to me. They look up to the character, and that character's bit was around long before I stepped underneath it, and it was just really fun to play, and really fun to standing on the shoulders of all these other artists to step into it.
Yeah, you just did the laugh there. How did you practice that? Is that something you had to work on? Is that something you did every day? I mean, I remember watching an interview with Bill Skarsgård when he did Pennywise, and he was saying he'd drive to work in the makeup and he'd just be laughing in his car going to the set. Is that something? Yeah. Is that what you did? Did you do it? Did you practice it, or is it just?
I definitely worked on it. I absolutely worked on it, and I remember being really nervous about it because the director didn't ask me to do it. He didn't say have a laugh, do a laugh. I was kind of just playing at home and thinking about I thought the scariest thing would be a laugh that came out of you that has nothing to do with anyone around. It's just pure joy. It's just pure joy, and it's not, a lot of people control their laughs, right? You kind of make this laugh that's socially appropriate, and this was the trick for my laugh is to just be out of breath. Like that's the trick. Is I could teach you how to do it. Is you basically breathe all your air out, right? And then you just push as much laugh as you can. So you go, then you go. So it comes out of that, right? So it becomes that really punchy laughter, and I think that's what's scary about it is it's just a kid playing. It's just a kid outside chasing squirrels and and doing what he loves to do. But those squirrels happen to be humans, and what he loves to do is kill them. So that's why it's so scary, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I'd try to laugh, but I think my mum would be driving me to the nearest.
Yeah, I live alone, thank God. So yeah.
So the last question I just want to ask, and it's just sort of some advice for people who are aspiring to be actors, stunts people.
Mhm.
What advice or instructions would you give people who are wanting to get into this industry?
I would say you have zero control over what people think of you, and how people are going to hire you. So don't go out there and look for jobs. Be what you want to be, act how you want to act, really develop yourself and your own personality, and go to acting classes, become really flexible, love what you do, and then go and show people, and then go out and go to auditions,
Mm-hmm.
and just love it and do it, because in the end you have zero control. Like, look, I got that role. I got that role as Vincent. I got a principal role, because the director was like, "Oh, you read that pretty good," and just called me and asked. And it's like that's the reality of how some of these things work. So some of these audition process work. Sometimes they scour the country and find the exact right person, but sometimes they just say, "That guy seemed good." It's an insane process where actors will sell their soul to become what what they think is the ideal actor. And in the end, they have zero control over, like, they'll go, "Oh no, that girl's hair was red, and she's a good actor, but her hair was red. We want a blonde." And they won't think about dyeing her hair. They'll just be like, "No, I don't picture it." So in the end, do what you love and make your own projects. Make your own projects. Get out there, sell your own products, and do what you love making your own projects, because the cream will always rise to the top. Nowadays, especially, look at like shows like Always Sunny in Philadelphia. They just started shooting it and did a YouTube series, and once you have a product, you can control the narrative, and you can control that fan base. Then people are gonna want to buy into it. So yeah, that's a lot of advice, but
Yeah, no, it's been
good.
amazing. I just want to ask one last question.
Yeah,
You see Three Finger stood outside your house now. What is your first initial reaction?
I see Three Finger, the actual Three Finger. Uh, fuck. I mean,
Maybe creep him out
it
by doing his laugh to him.
is. Yeah, is it really him? Like, is it him? It's like him.
It's him. It's the real
Like,
life him.
like he's there and he's mad that I impersonate him in a movie. Like, he's like at my front door. Um, how far away is he standing in my house? Is he like at the front door? Or is he like at the edge?
You hear a knock at the door, you open it, bang.
And it's Three Finger. I would ask him. I'd say, "Oh, hello." What like I would treat him like a human until he attacked me. I mean, again, I'm not going to perceive anything. Like, maybe it's not him. I don't know he exists in real life, so I'm not going to project the movie onto him. I'm going to say, "Hey, hello, sir. You're quite ugly. What's up?" And then we'll see where it goes from there. I'll offer him your coffee.
Well, it's been amazing. Thank you ever so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
And yeah, thank you ever so much, man.
of course. Thanks for having me. Chat soon. Bye bye.
No problem.